Welcome. You guys reached review time with Imperial, and today's review will be House of the Dragon, Season 2, Episode 6. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Let's get into it. So this is just another episode to push the storyline forward. The episode starts off with um, the Lannister house on Lannister house meeting up with another house, basically sending a message to Daemon, which is the Prince Regent, basically in charge until King Aegon II is recovered. Basically, sending a message to him that they're not going to join the war unless he arrives with Vhagar. And you could see, those of us from Game of Thrones, you could see the attire, the shields and everything that um, they have the same shields that Jaime Lannister had in Game of Thrones. So this is House Lannister with their flags and their shields and everything, their armor. It's pretty much sending a message to Prince Aemond that, hey, you need to uh, show up with Vhagar, and then we'll ride with you. Because of course they still know Prince Daemon has Caraxes, and they not trying to get fried. At least they know if Vhagar is there. That's the biggest dragon. So of course it then goes back to Aemond, and Aemond's not feeling that they would even challenge him by saying he needs to be there with Vhagar. So he's there with the small council, and they're negotiating. So now uh, you're starting to see some things where Aemond is more chill and calm, strategic with Aegon, but the people kind of like Aegon. They're starting not to like Aemond, and the council is starting to see they don't like Aemon. So Aemon. And so he's going around the room talking to each people, trying to talk soft to get people to agree with him what he's trying to do. And uh, Sir Kristen Cole, which is the hand to Aemon. Which is the hand to Aegon. He's still on the council now. Larry Strong, which is the Whisperer, he's still on the council as well. So pretty much, Aemon is telling Sir Kristen Cole they need to head to Harrenhal with the soldiers and get prepared to do battle with his uncle Prince Daemon, letting them know that if his uncle is ready to war with him, he's going to do so. And so by sending him there, he said, I will arrive with Vhagar when the opportune time, but I'm just not just showing up. When the time is right, I show up then. So that was that. At the end of the meeting, he requested for his mom to stay behind and told his mom pretty much he appreciated everything she did for the realm and the council, and she pretty much said, I was on here with your father, and during his later years, I contributed, and he pretty much said, we thank you for that, but now you need to tend to more domestic things, and your services are no longer needed. So he took her off the council, and pretty much it kind of made reference to like he knows what she's been doing with Sir Kristen Cole. So she still looked at Aemon like, listen, I know you, like, haven't you put enough revenge out there from you losing your eye, pretty much. And we know he got Lucerys, that's the person who took his eye when he was little. He got him back, but he's now feeling his wrath. He got his brother back, but he's still, I don't want to say being a tyrant, but he's causing ruckus. And so, um, from there, it goes to Princess Rhaenyra, where she, at the end of the last episode, her son Jace gave her the ideal. Dig in the books, we're gonna find the Targaryen bloodline, find bastards and people like that that had a Targaryen bloodline, and get them to see if they can ride dragons. So there's three main dragons they're looking to find riders for, and that's Sea Smoke, which was Lenore's Corlys' son that he thought is dead but went off into the war, and his old dragon Sea Smoke, Vermithor, and that's who Prince Daemon was singing a couple episodes back, like one or two. He was singing to. That was Vermithor, and then Silverwing or whatever. And Silverwing hasn't been rolled for some time. I forgot. It was somebody's wife who Silverwing's dragon was. So of course, they got the ideal. Let's get the descendants and see if they can become dragon riders. The only thing is, when you go up to try to claim the dragon, you could lose your life in the process. The dragon doesn't necessarily have to agree and choose you, or agree to bond with you. They could just burn you up and kill you, eat you, whatever. So in the books, this becomes a big thing where a bunch of people show up to Dragonstone to see if they could be the rider, and a lot of people get eaten and burned and stuff like that. So this one in this episode is just the first person. He was one of Rhaenyra's main knights that protected her, and he pretty much did it with honor. Like, yeah, Queen, I go there and see if I can mate with bond with Sea Smoke, and there's a big ceremony with that, and they, of course, they made it dramatic with that scene. And so one of the councilmen, older councilmen, he didn't agree with this. He pretty much was like, nah, man, like, you definitely shouldn't do this. Like, this is not a good idea. But of course, she proceeded. Then, of course, they're looking to, like I said, it's not much to the war. They really could, if they wanted to end this war, they want to drag it out. And so the war could be ended by this season or whatever. So they drag it out with a bunch of scenes. So Prince Daemon, they're back in Harrenhal, and he's still having hallucinations and bad dreams. So that's, we all tired of that, because, whatever. So that's his whole episode, is him having bad dreams. He wakes up one day and he has a bad dream with his brother. The conversation they had in season 1 with his brother, and his brother said it was word that pretty much you said you'll just get one day on the throne, basically undermining your brother. And he pretty much said nobody on the council want to fool with you, but it's because you my brother. I don't only want to got your back. And then when Viserys' wife passed away, Prince Daemon was out, having life, having fun, and he wasn't there for his brother's support. So what this is going to, in return, these dreams, eventually is going to have Prince Daemon fulfill that he needs to back his niece slash wife, Rhaenyra. So he gonna need to he gonna back her. So nevertheless, he gets up and goes out to where Caraxes is, basically like, man, I'm leaving here, thinking that people poison him, put stuff in his food. And the witch, I can't think of what her name is, but the witch is out there, and she pretty much tells him, he asks her for counsel. She's like, oh, the great Prince Daemon's asking for help. And he was like, no, counsel. Then she proceeded to talk some more, and he said, yeah, I need your help. And so she's like, okay, the Tullys, the old man is still in charge, and he's not willing to help Daemon, but the younger one who's next in line could. So she pretty much said, don't do nothing haste, just chill for 3 days, and something's going to change. So of course, within 3 days, he got word that old Tully died, and pretty much said that the witch went out. They sent the witch over there to help, see if he could help bring his health back together. Of course, we already know she slipped something in the old dude, whatever, to make him croak over, so he died. And so that's pretty much the end of Prince Damon scenes for this episode. So that helps him in his mission to uh, fight against the war. See, all this is a lot of stuff is going on with Princess Rhaenyra, but she doesn't know where Daemon stands. His leadership for war is not, because he's doing his own thing. He's not really tying into what they got going on. He's doing his own mission to take over King's Landing for himself. He's not joining forces with her, whatever she got doing, combining everything. He's just doing everything on his own. So they don't know what he's doing. So they got to do stuff on their own. So they trying to build stuff their way. And a lot of things probably could have been avoided, especially Princess Rhaenyra's situation could have been avoided if he was on board. But he's in his own world being stubborn. So, but it still eventually comes together. Now, it goes back to Dragonstone where Rhaenyra's main knight who protects her is going to try to get binding with Sea Smoke, and it looked like they was speaking in Valerian and singing that song that Prince Daemon sung to Vermithal, and looked like Sea Smoke bowed down and looked like he was great, accept him as a writer, and at the last minute he rose up and set fire to him and one of the dragon keepers, and the dragon keeper slit his throat. So I guess he don't feel the pain or whatever, but he got burnt down. So the older councilman that thought it was a bad idea, he began to not he began to speak his mind towards Rhaenyra, basically saying that was a bad idea, and she pretty much turned around and smacked him and said basically like letting him know I'm still the queen, like you better still respect who I am, that type situation. So you had Lord Corlys went up to, well, we know he got twin sons, Alan and Adam. He doesn't really acknowledge Adam, but we've seen some foreshadowing with Adam, but he acknowledges Alan, and basically he goes up to Alan, pretty much tells him, hey, we ready to set seas in a couple of days, I want you to be my number 2. And he was like, basically, is that a request or it's an order? And because if it's a request, he want to turn it down because he don't want people to think he got favoritism. He want to earn his way. Basically, Lord Corlys is like, nah, this is an order. I expect you to be there on the morrow or whatever. So Adam has a conversation with Adam, and Alan has a conversation with Adam, pretty much telling him, look, we're going to get everything that's owed to us once the sea snake takes over this other place. We're going to get our riches. And so Adam is like, nah, like I want mines now. I ain't got time to wait. So we already seen some foreshadowing with Adam. And then from there it goes to Rhaenyra and Melissaria pretty much send, we know the small folk back in King's Landing. Food is scarce because, of course, Lord Corlys cut off their supply to get food. Food is scarce, so Rhaenyra sends boats to the small folk with food in it, and of course there's a green Targaryen flag, it's a black Targaryen flag, with the black Targaryen flag. So that basically now the small folk is hurting. They like Rhaenyra's coming to be the savior. They'll basically win the small folk over. So that takes place. And so then from there we have King Aegon II wakes up and Aemond is around. Aemond's like, oh, he is? Let me go speak to my brother. So that ball that King Aemond was having, that basically shows, in control. He had that ball so he could he excused everybody out the room and pretty much asked Aegon, what do you remember? Now, of course, at this time, Aegon is terrified of Aemond. He remember all the dirtball stuff he did to Aemond or whatever, so he's terrified. He said, I don't remember nothing. He's like, oh, it was stupid of you to try to go after Rhaenyra with Meleys like that. And so uh, Aegon pretty much was petrified, and he pressed on Aegon's wound. So you know that's pain right there. Pretty much told him, uh, talking crazy to him. So Aemond, of course, he wanted his brother to die. So he left him with that ball. So of course he's in pain and pretty much told the maester, "You doing a great job. See to it that my brother get well." But he came in right at the nick of time, and he pretty much acted like he just was giving him the ball, but he really was pressing on his wounds. He can't let the people see that, what his intent is. That they could bring a bunch of people up against him. So from there, later in the episode, you also had Lord Lair Strong sitting with Aemond, talking to him about strategy and telling Aemond he needed a hand. Aegon's hand was Sir Criston Cole, but he needed his own hand, and so Aemond was pretty much like, "Yeah, you're right." And then he thought Aemond was going to have him be his hand, but Aemond was like, "You told, like you beneath me, you scum. You don't deserve to be the hand." He like, I know what you are. I know what you basically playing all sides, and basically I want you. What you could do is send word and get my grandfather Otto Hightower back here, even though he wasn't the best person, but I know what his intent was. I want him back here to be my hand. So that's how Otto Hightower gets back in the fold by Aemond. So Larry Strong looking like, oh wow, like so what he does, he runs and goes visit Aemond, and so when Aemond's going to get his poppy, which is his pain medicine, he holds it and pretty much told Aegon, listen, if you keep filling yourself up with this pain medicine, you're sleep 9 hours out of 10 hours of the day. So majority of the day you just sleep. There will be the medicine is not going to have you think. He said pretty much when he was born with his ankle mangled, and people always looked down at him because he was disabled. But the one thing he had was his mind, and he was strong, and he used his disabledness as a weapon because people underestimate him. And basically, he's pretty much telling Aegon, with you being burned and you being down, people will they don't think much about you, and so you could still do some things because they're gonna underestimate you. So it does come true because so Aegon heard him. Aegon pretty much was like crying, telling him to help him. And later on, you will see how Larys helps him, and see what Larys is looking at is once once all these people kill each other, King Aegon could still be alive, and he'd make him hand, and now he could do his thing or whatever, because people gonna forget about Aegon because he's disabled and not worry about him. But so it is gonna be a time where Larys does get King Aegon to safety, and it's gonna come full circle. So without giving too much information, a lot of this stuff could just be over, like I said, but he does pull through and help King Aegon, which also he'll find his demise too in the end. So from there, you had Rhaena. Of course, she has Rhaenyra's kids, and finds out that there's a dragon on that. And we seen the last episode where the woman was saying Rhaenyra promised me 3 dragons, and she was like, she did. And she said, "But I had no use for him." So Rhaenyra finds out there's a dragon on where the castle is, but they also find out that dragon doesn't have a rider, and it's a dragon that's not has no bond with nobody, so they can't control it. And dragon's not really meant to control, but if they got a rider, at least the dragon listens to the rider or whatever. So this dragon is sheep stiller. I think it's called sheep stiller, and just got the name because it kills those sheep for food. And so was in the books there was a character by the name of Needles. I think it was Needles, and she was able to tame or bond with sheep stiller, and that became her dragon. So I think they're creating this arc to get this storyline for Rhaenyra because she never claimed a dragon, bonded with a dragon. She gonna bond with sheep stiller, and that's gonna be her storyline. So they switched some things up from the book, and so pretty much Rhaenyra's three kids, Joffrey, little Aegon the third, and I forgot what the other one named. They're on their way to Pentos, so some things happen with them going to Pentos as well. So some things that's going transpire from there. So that was there. Then you had Princess. Alicent. She pretty much ran into her brother. And they talked about growing up and how the dad left and became the hand, left him home with the mom. She left her child Darren. So she asked her brother about her son. Is he kind? Because she said basically her boys with Viserys, they're not. She didn't teach them to be kind, and they should have been kind. And was her other son kind? And he pretty much said he's kind. He has a way with the ladies and everything like that. Now they're setting him up, her oldest son, to come and play here, and he's going to eventually get a dragon that's going to help her side as well. He eventually going to get a dragon that's going to enter the war. So you could tell the conversation that she having with her brother. That's the last conversation she gonna have with her brother because they all setting off to Harrenhal, and she's looking off in the far. Sir Kristen Cole, they don't speak, but they're looking at each other, and you could tell just by the look, it's the last time they gonna see each other because they don't return back from this the mission that they on to Harrenhal. So I already mentioned Rhaenyra. Princess Rhaenyra gave the small folk food. There's a moment where her and Melissaria, of course, Melissaria used to mess with Daemon back when he was in King's Landing. They start making out at the end of the episode. So that, I don't even know why they threw that in there, but they did. So they were, Alicent, after her brother and Sir Kristen Cole left out, she went over to Helena and told Helena, let's go to the church place and light up candles for Aegon and the other souls that, or whatever. And so when she did do that, the townspeople, it was at the same time the townspeople was getting the food from that Rhaenyra. So now we keep seeing this character. He looks like Rhaenyra. He looks like a Targaryen. He got blonde hair, but he's part of the smart folk. His daughter is ill, so sees all the people asking him where they're getting food from. They tell him where they're getting the food from. So he pretty much, everybody going off. He beat somebody. Well, he beat somebody up and then took their food. Of course, he's fighting for his family. He took their food and ran off. It keeps showing him he's eventually going to be one of the dragon riders. That's the foreshadow that you see. That's why they keep showing. Why they keep showing certain small folk. that's because they're going to end up being dragon riders, just like Adam. So nevertheless, we get back to that. So he took the food. We talked about Melissaria, and so uh, when Helena and Alicent went to light the candles, it was the same time the small folk was fighting over the food, and they start going off, and so they start rioting. And the guardsmen, the knights, was trying to protect Alicent and Helena, and they pretty much threw. They're mad at the uh, Alicent, the king, and everybody, so they threw food at Alicent's face, and they cornered Alicent and Helena, and then the guards pretty much cut off one of the small folks' hand, and they went off. The people went off. They had to get Alicent and Helena to safety, but the people went off, and she pretty much told them to shield their knives. Like, don't pretty much just don't cut the small folk. They just angry. Don't cut them with your knives and stuff like that. But they got Alicent and Helena in like the carriage, but one of the knights he got overwhelmed, and they pretty much stabbed him up, beat him down, dragged him to the ground, and so they drove off, and Alice and them drove them off in a carriage. But it just shows you the small folk is not feeling them no more. So the scene goes: Adam is on the beach and doing his duties. Sea smoke has always came out while Adam was on the beach, just flew around. So that was the foreshadow. I said this a few episodes ago while I was doing a recap. And so this time, Sea Smoke is coming to greet Adam again. But this time, Adam thinks he's trying to kill him. So Adam runs into the forest and think he got away. But Sea Smoke went into an area where Adam thought he was cool, and Sea Smoke pretty much showed up in front of him. But it wasn't to kill him. It was kind of to embrace him, to bond with him. And Sea Smoke chose. It was rare that it was always thought that you choose the dragon or whatever, but Sea Smoke needed a rider, and he chose Adam or whatever. So Sea Smoke got in front of Adam's face, and pretty much Adam was scared at first, but then he started to look into him like, yo, this thing's not trying to kill me. It's trying to bond with me. So word got to Rhaenyra pretty much, yay. Sea Smoke, while she was making out with Melissaria, she got one of the knights came in and said, hey, Sea Smoke is out flying around. She said, well, he always does that. They said no, with a rider. She looked like. So she's thinking one of the greens came and bonded with Sea Smoke and took down there taking one of her dragons or whatever. So she instantly rushes off into the dungeon, and pretty much Syrax, which is her dragon, pretty much is waiting right there, and she jumps on Syrax and flies off. And that's the end of the episode. So the trailer pretty much shows that she meets up with Adam, with Syrax, and then Adam has Sea Smoke, pretty much saying like, "What's your deal? With where you stand? Like, are you with us? Or are you going with the Greens? What? Because now you got a dragon, you got a powerful weapon, and we can't take it from you because Sea Smoke chose you. So what's your deal? What do you want?" Of course, we know Adam want the riches and all that. He want his now. So, good for him. Overall, decent episode. It's 2 episodes left for this season. It's 8 episodes total. So I don't know how much far they're gonna get to. I think they're gonna get to the point where they storm King's Landing. I don't know if they're gonna get to the point where Sir Criston Cole and them go to war and see their demise. So let's see how that works out. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Till next time.